Let's test how well you understand the this keyword in JavaScript. 15 questions. Pause before each answer and try to guess. Let's begin. Start easy. What is this at the top level? In the browser, this is window. In Node.js, this is module exports. In Node ES modules or strict mode, this is undefined. In the browser global scope, the global object is window. Top level this points to it. In Node.js, modules wrap code. Top level this is the module exports object, an object, not the global. In strict mode, or ESM, top level this is deliberately undefined to avoid accidental globals.
Number 2. Method call. What does this point to?
It's Alice. When calling user getName, execution looks for the object before the dot, user, implicit binding. Inside getName, this is set to that object, user. So this name resolves to username.
Number 3. What happens if we extract the method into a variable? The answer is undefined, or the global object in non-strict mode.
User getName returns the function itself. No object is attached. Call-in fn is just a plain function call, so this points to the global object, or undefined in strict mode. That means this name is not username, it's undefined, unless window name is set in a non-strict browser.
Number 4. What will this refer to inside the callback of setTimeout? The answer is undefined. User say later runs. The method is called. It registers a callback with timeout. Later, the callback is called by the timer system, not the user object. So this, inside the callback, points to the global object, or undefined if in strict mode. That means this name isn't username, the console logs undefined.
Number 5. What will this refer to inside the arrow function callback?
The answer is Alice. In say later runs, the method is called. It registers an arrow function as the callback. Arrow functions don't have their own this, they inherit it from the surrounding scope. Here, the surrounding scope is say later, where this is user. That means this name inside the arrow is username, so the console logs Alice.
Number 6. What does this refer to when using call? Here, this points to the object we passed, so the output is, "Hi, Bob." Greet is called with call, name equals Bob, which explicitly sets this inside the function to the object name equals Bob. Therefore, this name resolves to Bob, and the console logs, "Hi, Bob." Number 7. What does this refer to inside a constructor called with new? B value is 10. When new box is called, a new object is created, and this inside the constructor is bound to that object. Assigning this dot value equals 10 writes the property on the new object. The constructed object is returned, so b dot value is 10 when we log it. Number 8. What happens to this when a class method is extracted and called as a plain function? So cCount stays 0. C's cinc is extracted as a standalone function. Calling fn is a plain function call, so there is no receiver object. That means this, inside the function, is the global object, or undefined in strict mode. And cCount does not increment, remaining 0. Number 9. Inside a DOM event handler, what does this refer to? This points to the button that was clicked. When a DOM event handler is defined as a regular function, the browser sets this to the element that triggered the event.
So inside the function, this refers to the button that was clicked. If an arrow function is used instead, this is inherited from the surrounding lexical scope and won't be the button element.
Number 10. What happens when you chain method calls that return this?
The final value is 7. Object Inc. increments value from 5 to 6 and returns this, the object itself. Because it returns the same object, calling inc again runs the method a second time, incrementing value to 7. Method chaining works because each call returns the same object via this. Number 11. What happens if you define an object method using an arrow function?
Result returns undefined.
Arrow functions don't have their own this. They use this from the surrounding lexical scope. Here, getName is defined as an arrow method, so this does not point to the user object. In a top-level file, this is the global object, or undefined in strict mode, which is why user getName returns undefined. To fix it, define the method as a regular function. Number 12. What does this refer to when using bind to create a new function? So say hi logs hi. Using say bind creates a new function, say hi, where this is permanently set to the given object. Even if you try to call it later with call or apply, the bound this doesn't change. When say hi runs, it logs hi.
Number 13. What happens to this when a bound function is called with new?
Instead, x is 1. When you use new on a bound function, a fresh object is created, and this inside the constructor points to that new object. The explicit binding from bind is ignored. So this x is set by the constructor to 1, and inst x logs 1.
Number 14. If a function is called with call on an object method, which this takes priority?
So this value is 99. Explicit binding using call has higher priority than implicit binding through an object method. When you call showCallCustomObject, JavaScript directly sets this to the object passed to call, so this value logs 99.
Number 15. What happens to this when a method returns an arrow function?
So function returns 42. Obj_get is called as a method, so this inside get points to obj. The method returns an arrow function, which captures this lexically from the get execution context. Even when the arrow function is called later as fn, it still uses the this captured earlier, so function returns 42.
That's it for our this quiz. How many did you get right? Drop your score in the comments. Let's see who's the ultimate JavaScript master.